Hi, I'm Jason DeBacker, an assistant professor of economics at the University of South Carolina and a core contributor to the Cost of Capital Calculator. The Cost of Capital Calculator is a web application that allows you to explore the effects of tax policy on businesses' investment decisions. I'd like to take a few minutes to show you how the model works. To get there, navigate to ospc.org, scroll down to Cost of Capital Calculator, and click on Explore the Numbers. From here, we're taken to the Cost of Capital Calculator's webpage. At the top, we see detailed information about the model. In brief, the Cost of Capital Calculator computes marginal effective tax rates on businesses' investments. Marginal effective tax rates summarize the incentives provided by the tax system to undertake these investments. Marginal effective tax rates include things such as the corporate income tax, depreciation allowances, interest deductibility, individual level taxes, and other features of the tax system. Going down further, we're able to modify parameters of the tax system to evaluate a reform we're interested in. First, we're presented with business income tax rates. Here, we can modify the corporate income tax rate, set to a default of 35%, or apply a rate at the business entity level to non-corporate businesses, such as sole proprietorships, partnerships, or S corporations. Next, we can change the depreciation system. We have options to change from the general depreciation system to the alternative depreciation system, or apply economic depreciation. We can also apply bonus depreciation under any of these three systems. By setting bonus depreciation to 100%, we allow for full expensing. Depreciation schedules can be changed for properties of different types, where those types are separated by the asset's life. Next, we can modify other incentives provided by the tax system that affect investments. For example, we can modify the deductibility of interest, provide for an allowance for corporate equity, apply a property tax, or an investment tax credit. Last, because marginal effective tax rates are determined or affected by rates of return, we can modify the nominal interest rate or the inflation rate. Let's consider an example. Let's change the current income tax system to a cash flow tax. To do this, we'll provide expensing of equipment and structures. So we'll do that by changing bonus depreciation to 100%, so that in the first year of that investment, we're able to expense the full cost of the investment. We'll do this for all classes of assets. Next, to make this a true cash flow tax, we'll deny interest deductibility. And once we've changed those parameters, simply click on Show Me the Results. The model will take a couple minutes to run. What's going on behind the scenes is that the Cost of Capital Calculator is communicating with OSPC's tax calculator to compute marginal tax rates on individuals' income from investments. It's also running a model called BTax, which computes the marginal effective tax rates on businesses' investments, which include those individual level taxes. It also uses data from the Bureau of Economic Analysis and the IRS to understand what types of assets are held in different sectors of the economy. After the model finishes running, we're presented with the results page. There's a lot of information here, so let me describe how it's presented. The default view is to view output by industry for the marginal effective total tax rate, which is the marginal effective tax rate including all levels of taxation, both at the business entity level as well as at the individual level. And the output format is to show you those marginal effective total tax rates for the reform that you specified. Looking at the table, we can see that there are 6 columns. In the first two, we see the marginal effective total tax rate for typically financed investment. That is, investment financed by the historical mix of debt and equity used by either corporate or non-corporate business entities. Columns 3 and 4 show us the marginal effective total tax rates for equity financed investment. And the last 2 columns show us the marginal effective total tax rates for debt financed investment. The first row shows us the overall marginal effective tax rates across all industries. Next, we see industries broken out by major industry in bold and then sub-industries below that. Let's view the output also by asset. Here we still have the same 6 columns in the table, but now our rows represent different asset types. Again, the first row is still for all investments, so all asset types in this case. Next, we can look at marginal effective tax rates for equipment, structures, intellectual property, inventories, and land. Going back to the top, let's change our output format and see what we can view here. If we go to baseline, this shows us the marginal effective tax rates under current law, and we can also look at the difference between the reform we specified and the baseline. There are a few options for output of interest. Let me just describe 2 of those here. We've already seen the marginal effective total tax rate. Next, we have the marginal effective tax rate, or METR. This includes just the first level of taxation and its effects on businesses' investment decisions. So for corporate entities, this would leave out the second layer of taxation that applies to their individual shareholders. Again, there's a lot to digest here. I hope you can explore the cost of capital calculator further. As you do, you may have questions or suggestions for us. If so, please leave those at ospc.org/hello, or feel free to email me directly. I hope you enjoy using the cost of capital calculator.